Welcome to Political Fix. This is a video production of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and STLtoday.com. I'm Christopher Ave. I'm the political and national editor at the Post-Dispatch, and I'm joined here by Joel Currier, who is a courts reporter for the Post-Dispatch. And today we're going to be talking about the Eric Greitens trial. You've read a bunch of stuff, heard a bunch of stuff leading up to this. Now the trial is upon us. And so, Joel, let's start by talking about, we've had a bunch of pretrial motions that went through. It seemed like the defense was trying to get rid of as much evidence as they could. Prosecution had their own issues with an investigator that they themselves said was less than professional.
Inspector Clouseau, I believe, is one of the references to the investigator.
Exactly right. The prosecutors themselves called him Inspector Clouseau. So it's been there's been a lot of fireworks, but now it's down to the case, and it does seem, from what we can tell, Joel, that this case still kind of depends on whether the jurors will believe the woman in question, the woman who had an affair with Eric Greitens in 2015 in their initial encounter at his home. That's where this alleged crime of invasion of privacy occurred. At least that's what the prosecutors allege. So tell us a little bit about what you expect at this trial in terms of what actually will be introduced as evidence.
Well, I think a lot of it's going to come down, as you said, to what the jurors perceive as this woman's credibility, and if they believe her. And when she says, the governor, well, before he was governor, took a picture of me without my consent while I was in a partially nude state. And it's going to come down to just a few witnesses in this case. It's her, likely her ex-husband, and possibly a friend of hers. And we don't exactly know what they're going to say yet, but a lot of it's going to come down to their testimony and whether the jurors believe them.
Yeah, now we have gotten to read her testimony to a legislative committee that was investigating this incident, and from that we have learned that she said that she had been blindfolded and tied up with tape and saw a flash and heard a click, and we've since been described as the click of an iPhone.
Right.
But to prove this, prosecutors don't only have to prove that the photograph in question was taken, they also have to prove that it was taken in such a way that it could be transmitted to a computer. So explain that a little bit. Is that going to be difficult for the prosecution to prove?
It might be, because just this week the prosecution has acknowledged they still don't have the photo that was allegedly taken by the governor. So they have to prove that there was a photo that existed at some point, and they also have to show evidence that it was somehow transmitted. Now, it would appear that the part of the law they're basing their prosecution on, how they're defining transmission, is by a smartphone's snap of the shutter, in that because the smartphone is a computer, that in itself, by taking a picture and it's being stored on the memory drive of a phone's memory, that in itself is a transmission of a photo.
Fascinating.
So they're going to have to try to show that that's transmission, and they're trying to get a computer expert in to talk about what transmission actually means.
So the trial starts with a process of selecting jurors, and talk a little bit about that. How is that, what's going to happen there? How do the two sides get to have influence over who actually hears this case?
Well, each side will get a chance to question 160 potential jurors that are coming in, to get ready for this trial. And what they're going to do is ask them about hardships, whether they can actually be here to watch a 3 or 4, maybe a 5-day trial. And then they'll get a little bit more specific about whether they think they can look at the evidence impartially and then decide whether they can render a verdict. So they're going to winnow down to 12 jurors and 3 alternates from a pool of 160, and they will not be sequestered. So they'll be able to go home at night and go see their families, but of course they'll be admonished not to talk about anything related to the case.
Right,
but don't research any news, don't look at anything, and so they'll be sworn to secrecy as to what's going on.
Excellent.
But of course, we'll be there covering it.
Right, I was going to say, that won't stop us from talking about the case. Thank you for watching Political Fix at STLtoday.com. Be sure to keep your computers and your phones and your tablets tuned to STLtoday.com to read Joel's excellent work, as well as that of other journalists like Robert Patrick and others who will be helping cover this historic trial of Governor Eric Greitens. I'm Christopher Ave for Joel Currier. Have a good day.